There we go. All right. All systems go.
Okay. This is an interesting, from my point of view, an interesting and more complicated than I like project.
Mhm.
It's 20 acres exactly, and they got a variance to create 4 lots, but there are restrictive covenants on the property that no lot can be created that's less than 5 acres.
Well,
Um, and this is an existing house and driveway, and they built the well way over here. And
uh,
these red lines I just did divided the property into
yeah.
4 or 5 acre lots, which isn't going to work. But I wanted to see what it looked like, and the well turns out is right on that line.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the entrance that the best entrance here is here at 142. So I need to bring the let me show you this thing. This is something that the owner sent me. Uh, and this won't work. They're never going to let you make a curve like that or a
No,
turn like that in a
yeah, yeah, you'd have
subdivision.
to you'd have to just put curves where those bends are, that's all. But
But they want it to come down this well, you can see in the you can see here's where they're talking about, and evidently there's not uh much rock there.
okay.
So and the road itself does not have to be I mean the boundary can be the boundary should be in the center of the road, but for example, this lot isn't going to use the road, so it could be on the edge of the right of way as far as
Mhm.
it goes, and it really doesn't need to come much further than just to enter into this property. So
Right.
I need some advice about how to do that, and I could have brute forced it, but it would have taken me probably
Sure.
more than a day
Okay. Yeah.
to figure out how to adjust the areas and the center lines and all that. So
Yeah. So, well, let me ask you this. Are is the right of way width of the access road, is that going to be exempted from ownership? Or you know how like a prescriptive easement has, they own to the center,
yes.
but or if it's a right.
Or to the edge. It'll be owned. By the way, you still have the video camera on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You usually turn
Thanks.
that off.
That probably would be save a little here. There we go. So yeah, so you're gonna own to the edge, you're not gonna own to the
No,
centers.
no, you're gonna own to the edge, to the center.
Oh, you will own to the center.
Yeah,
So you
well,
still,
you won't necessarily like if this is coming up here
yeah.
and somehow coming down here.
Well, you
Uh,
can make the boundary of one of your lots follow that is what I'm saying. You just adjust the other ones accordingly. As long, what I was getting to is that if this is exactly 20 acres, then these will be 5 acre lots unless you're exempting the right of way width.
no, the right of way will be included in the areas.
Okay, so now the
But
other,
what I was going to suggest is that this guy isn't going to use the right of way.
yeah.
He's there. He's got an existing driveway here, and
Mhm.
this isn't. These people went to Florida and died, and a real estate agent bought the property and is cutting it up. This is a project, not a.
Right, right. Okay, so, all right, so that lot wouldn't necessarily need access from this new road,
Right.
because there's already one there for him, or them,
But
and
evidently they want it to go down this
yeah,
open area.
okay. Well, that's again, no problem, and then we can adjust each of those lots to be 5 acres if that's what we want,
Yeah.
because you don't
And
have
it
two.
gets trickier than that because the zoning variance they have requires 50% of each lot area to be in permanent green space. So, but I'll figure that out.
Okay. Um, well, I mean, it's not like they're gonna pave the entire 5 acres, so,
No,
you could call that, if, I mean, would they not consider, I know there's areas there that don't have trees, but could that be considered green space? I know it's brown in the picture, but
and
uh,
anything can be considered green space. It just can't be built in.
just not developed. Yeah, okay. So well, I don't think there'd be any problem with that.
Although
So,
you can put the septic reserve area in the green space.
right, okay.
That's allowed.
All right, so let's let's first take a look at getting your center line on there and what we need to do to get that.
Okay, so I go to I think there's a center line.
There it is. Now, if you're wanting to go to that point 142,
Yes.
now here's when you're in, at least in AutoCAD, you can't start at 142 and then draw a line that's perpendicular to that line. But there's an easier, there's sort of a little trick you can do to get perpendicular to that and then have it start at 142. And that is this, if you just click out in space anywhere and to start your point or
Oh,
to start your line, yeah,
oh, do I
a 2D, yeah, there you
what
go.
do you call it?
And just use current and that's fine. Say okay, and just click anywhere and then shift right click or choose the perpendicular snap because you want it to snap perpendicular to that property line up there at 142, anywhere near 142. Just point to that line that you want it to be perpendicular to. So if you go on up to the main, well, that'll work too, as long as that's parallel. But
Yeah, it is parallel.
all right, so click there and then end and hit enter to finish. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is move that line you just drew from its end point to point 142. Okay, so you see what we accomplished is that we got it, we now have the line perpendicular, but now we need to position it exactly right. So you're going to go from the end point up there.
Right click in.
Yep, yep, or you don't have to right click, it's already snapped. You see it shows up now. Just go there and then go up to wherever your point 142 is. Uh, Where's your point 142? I thought that was where we were headed to. Is that,
That's it, I think. Let me let me do an inverse here.
well, oh, I see. Okay, so I wasn't seeing the point. I guess it was kind of lost in the image. So we are, when you, let me see something. If we go to, all right, your point object snapping is on. So if we, all right, so now let's move this from the end. And then if I just point to that, will it snap? Why that, see that icon there shows that it was, now you see where that's showing up. That's what I was looking for. But that icon is sort of, it looked like it was on, it was not on, so I turned it on. So now we could point to that point number and know we're exactly on the point. Okay, so now we're good to go for that. Now, do you have anything other than this image? You're just going to sort of eyeball to get where we're going?
Yeah,
Okay, so let's let's find where our let's find where the first angle point is by looking at the image and see if we can figure out where about it's going to be.
Look at the image that they did.
Yeah. So they're having it. Oh, see, they're not coming off 90 degrees to the,
No, they're real estate agents. They don't know anything.
okay. I just figure you get your approval easier if it's 90. So,
It has to be 90. They won't.
I see. All right. All right. So we just need to go from there and get on that other track. That's basically what we need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, now do you have a minimum radius? What are we looking for?
Uh, there's no real standard for this kind of road. It can be
Okay.
whatever.
So if we had, how long is that line that we just drew right now? Is that like 50 feet or
45.
45? Okay, so 50 feet. So let's make it 100 feet out to put the PI. So if you go, there's a command called extend by distance, and it is the first icon on the polyline toolbar, that upper rightmost toolbar, all the way to the left of that toolbar right there. If you click on that, and now click near the end you want to extend, just click and a little arrow shows up and you get all these options down there.
Yeah.
One of which is T, which means total distance. So type T 100, and that means go a total distance of 100, regardless of what distance it is. So we hit enter, and now we can hit enter to finish. Okay, and it's done. Now that's 100 feet long, and that's going to be where we first put our first PI. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's draw, and let's leave that one alone for the moment. Let's now go and sort of trace out a best fit, sort of eyeball best fit line along the route through that, whatever they're thinking is that. Okay. And just, through the woods there, it's just wherever you think it lines up best. We're not trying to connect anything up yet. Okay, so, but just sort of, it doesn't have to be parallel to the property line, it just needs to line up on that imaginary roadbed, whatever it is. Okay, so, is this, does it go like that, or is it, is it
Well,
that, go ahead, you've got it. You've got control. It's in the grip, right? Okay, we're going to that. Okay. All right, so
see, their photograph isn't really clear enough to be able
yeah,
to see
no,
it, except they're aiming toward the
toward that little inset, that little extension of the trees.
yeah, you can see that there's kind of an opening there.
So right in there. See that? If we put, say, like right in, see, like right there. But now, like, what about up here? Does this go um
Probably over a little bit. Over, yeah,
like
right.
more like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's see, this one, how'd they get way down there? This-
Well, I put it that down there far enough to get access across that.
Oh, we'll get there. We're gonna do these tangent at a time.
Okay.
So, and instead of putting a square edge here, we're gonna come off a little more angled. So our curves won't be so bad. Like we'll probably do, well, let's go ahead and do that part. If we run your 2D polyline again, or press escape to unhighlight that. Okay, now run your 2D polyline again.
Oh,
Okay, and then when it I don't think it hit. There you go. What's going on?
I don't know. There.
There we go. Now, go ahead and hit OK. Now, before you click anywhere, type C to continue, and you're going to continue that first one we just drew. So you select it, and it's going to latch onto the end point of it. Go ahead and you got to pick it though.
Yeah, no, I know I'm having trouble here with my mouse.
Oh, okay. Part of it is this image. We'll get it off as soon. Okay, now you're going to do that. Now just go down and to the right and just sort of eyeball where and don't try to snap to it. Just cross it wherever you think, put it at a, I would, yeah, there you go, like that. And I would maybe even make it not, yeah, pull it down a little bit more there, flatten it out as much as you think you can get away with, and get their buy-in, but you don't want it 90, 90, 90. Just so you can smooth out the curves would be better.
Okay, you
Okay.
think that's good?
I think it looks good like that. So just click there. So now we've got that. And we'll be able to trim that back to the PI and we'll put a curve in it. We'll fix that in a minute. But let's now get the rest of this wherever it needs to go, from say the end of where it is now. And then now what's the intent with the end? Is it to go sort of at the intersection of, well, it wouldn't make sense to necessarily go to the intersection of four lots.
Yeah, it's kind of going there to the intersection.
Yeah, let's see, because really what we need, first of all, the guy on the right where the bulk of the road or the bulk of the alignment runs through, he doesn't even need it. But they're taking advantage of that part of the ground. Okay, I get that. So now we need to cut back long enough to get, okay, I
Oh,
follow.
and here's the thing I've been thinking about, and it may not make sense, but the area over here, even if it's on this lot, can be part of the open space.
Well, I mean, yeah, it can.
Well, the real estate agent probably won't like that.
Yeah, I mean, all you've got to, all you really, I mean, do you have to dedicate a specifically demarcated
Yes.
green space where you say it has to be at least 50%, or can you just say, well, here, you know,
No, it has
look
to
at,
be designated.
so
Has
almost,
to be
almost
shown
like
on
an
the plat.
easement. Yeah, almost like an easement out of it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, you can still do a meander line, come down the edges and find all the undevelopable land. Gotta mark it off. But all right, so let's take let's do one more here. We're gonna do another 3D, yeah, not 3D, but 2D
2D.
polyline, yep. And say, okay, we're going to continue the second one now. So we C to continue. Type the letter C. There you go. Now pick the second one down toward the other end, down toward the bottom. There you go, right there. Now go down into the left and sort of parallel that tree line that you're see, and now come over further to the left though, because you want to get over there, like in there, and come on over. Get off of that line. You don't want to be on the end point of that line. Okay. So every time when you saw that word pop up endpoint, it was going to snap to the other end of that line.
Right.
So yeah, so somewhere like that, that should probably be sufficient. And therefore, so wherever you click now, let's hook all this up together. Let's go ahead and turn the image off so we can work with it without it being sort of. There we go. Now, let's go to the place where we have the overlap, where they overshot, and let's do we're going to do basically a fillet to that corner. We're going to intersect at that corner. And so what we want to do is go ahead and select both lines. Okay, now right click and choose trim. There you go. And click on the parts you want to throw away. That one and that one. Now we need to join. Go ahead and finish the command though. It's still. Okay, now we need to join nearest and get the one to the other. And that is the double-headed arrow right there. Perfect. There you go. And now get the other one down there and hit enter. You're done. Now, there's our center line, but we need some curves in it. So let's go ahead and see. Let me take a look at about what size we might want. Where's my distance here? So if I had a, I think, yeah, like a 50-foot radius. And this one, I think will take 100-foot. But these two 50. Okay, so now we're going to turn this into a center line. So we're going to go to the, let's get out of the GIS stuff and go to the survey menu. There you go. And let's choose center line. And we're going to say polyline to centerline file. We want that. It's the third one down at the top. Right there. So now it says, all right, give me the name of the centerline file to write. So you can, whatever you want to call that, driveway or access or 4 lots or, whatever you're calling it. Because I don't know, that's not what you called the big one up front, is it, that came off the main road? Well, I don't see any center lines in this file, in this folder anyway. You're in 2023 jobs, 2335 elevation properties,
Yes,
Carlson.
yes.
So there's no center lines in this folder to conflict with, so it should be all right.
So save.
Yeah. Okay, and now select the polyline that represents, and it's going to show you the direction, which is okay. We don't need to reverse it. And whatever starting station you want, 0 is fine. That's its default. Or you could, give it 5 plus 0, 0 as a start. Doesn't matter. Whatever you choose.
Let me ask you a question first should I trim that line to come to the easement limit of the highway?
No, I wouldn't. You mean in
Okay.
terms of, I mean, in fact, I sort of wondered why it didn't go all the way up to the main
To the
boundary.
center?
Oh, I see. That's the other easement. That's the other roadway up there.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So, no, yeah, I would put it. Now, what's the inside line though?
That's a required dedication. Set aside for highway improvement if they ever decide to improve it. It's a subdivision ordinance requirement.
Yeah, but I mean, I would actually put the start of this. In fact, go ahead and press escape, just so we're not doing it yet. Um, I would think very seriously about taking this all the way to the center line. The reason being is that, we're not going to define any area across the other area, but we're going to use that as the alignment, and you can actually define this starting center line based down, getting your calls down the other alignment if you needed to, if there's any real advantage there. But typically when roads intersect, you intersect their center lines where the center lines actually intersect, and the rights of way then go over and overlap and
Well, as long as I break I can do that with the center line, but I can't show the easement.
although that's correct. That's correct. You're not going to
Okay,
do that. You're going to trim those back to those edges. Yes.
okay, should I extend this then to there?
Yeah, I would just select your center line and then extend, or not that center line, the property line, I mean, and then right click extend. And then click that. Okay, there we go. Now, hit enter to finish that. So that makes that that tangent is no longer exactly 100 feet, but that doesn't matter. That's fine exactly the way we have it, okay?
Now go back to
So,
the center line.
yes, go back to that. And call it what you'd like. Okay. Pick the little guy there. There you go. And if station 0 is okay with you, just hit enter. If you want to change it, change it. And hit enter to finish up. Okay, so now you've created a centerline file that's out there on the disk, and it starts at that point that we extended, and it goes to the PI, to the PI, to the PI, to the AND. Obviously, we don't have any curves in it yet, but that was the easy part to do. So to edit that centerline file, you can do it from the centerline menu, edit centerline file, la, 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 or you can just double click this polyline now that we've turned it into a centerline file. Carlson's aware of it. There you go. See how that works?
Mm-hmm.
And now, each time you sit on an incoming tangent, like we are right there, you can go down to the bottom and say fit curve.
Aha.
Okay, so we're going to fit a curve, and we're going to make sure that it says for the radius, it will be 50 feet. So we type 50 and we just hit tab, and you'll see all of those other things will calculate.
Click what?
Tab or enter, either one. There you go. So all the other values calculate. Now hit OK, and you'll see the curve now gets inserted in there. All right, now zoom in up there. You can, there you go, like that. Now, do you think maybe this should be a little bigger than 50 feet? You think? Let's try, so let's go back to where that curve is. Now, see the line that in the words down below in the spreadsheet that says curve?
Yeah.
Just double click that, and let's change that 50 feet. Let's see if it'll take 100. If that's too big, it would tell us that, okay, so we'll say, okay, let's see how much that leaves us. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's a 100-foot curve. So now let's go down to the next tangent. We just click down below the curve line in the spreadsheet,
Oh,
and we say that line. Now we're going to fit a curve in there. And let's fit another 100-foot curve in there and see what that does for us. As long as it doesn't leave us like a little 2-foot tangent. All right, say okay. There we go. Got a nice little tangent left there of almost 75 feet. So that's fine. 100-foot, 100-foot. Keep coming down in the spreadsheet now to the next tangent. There we go. Let's put a 250-foot or fit curve. Let's see if a 250-foot curve, see what that does for us. We may need to, okay, go ahead and say okay, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's nice. It leaves us a nice little bit of tangent to end with. Okay, so now we're done with that. We're going to save and then exit, and you'll see that Carlson is going to help us out here and redraw it for us.
save,
Yep, and then exit.
exit.
And there it is. It's now drawn with the curves. Okay, so there is that. Now,
Now should I create the right of way next?
well, maybe, but let's take a look first at the property lines. All right, because
Yeah,
if
okay.
you want, I mean, like, you could do an access easement like this and keep your property lines just like you show them, okay, if you wanted to. But you could also say your, let's see here, you could do something like this. And this is what we'll do here in a minute. You know, we'll make this, you know, so we basically follow the center line to our first one, and then our second, we see we got a little bit more over here, a little bit less over here, and then we'll take, you know, one of these lines, we'll adjust it to make these areas be 5 acres each.
I
All
thought
right.
we were gonna use the center line as the boundary.
Well, that's what I was meaning. I
Oh,
was I
okay,
was basically tracing that out. I didn't want to snap to all those things yet, but we'll use that as that boundary line, and then we'll put the rest of that wherever they need to close to make them 5 acres
should I
each.
change the layer from center line to boundary?
No, I went ahead and did that, you see right here.
Oh, okay,
And because I did this make object layer current, this button right up here.
yeah.
Okay.
And I meant change the center line, the actual line.
Yeah, no, we still want that to be a center line. And we still
Okay,
want that to be there. And then we can erase it and redraw it if we need it at times. But here's what we're going to do with that to get it on our layer. If you go to the edit menu and choose copy to layer. Okay, now select your center line. And you're through selecting, so hit enter. And now you're going to put it on boundary. And or any of those other boundary type layers, whichever layer you want it to be on. So boundary is fine if that's, because you've got these others also on boundary. Okay. All right. So now you've got that as a boundary, and let's start working on that so we can get rid of that interior boundary line that you previously drew, that one, and just get rid of the whole thing. All right. And so now we've got, let's see how much this lot is. So let's isolate the boundary layer so we're not worried about those easement lines up there. Now, what are these little guys right here? They're just points. Okay. Uh, this, it's also on boundary. All right. So those are going to be, I don't, I don't know if this will, I know if we were to hatch this, the hatch would go around these corners.
yeah.
But I don't know about if we calculate an area of interior point. I don't think that honors it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these off just for a minute. Just in case. That way, so making sure we're getting the exact area. So let's go up to,
There's some on the other side too,
oh yeah.
over there.
So we'll repeat that hide by selection. Oh, and also I want to put um, first of all, I want to turn that into a polyline. And that is entities to poly, that's a line. So I'm going to make it a polyline. And now I'm going to add a point right in that intersection. Whoops. Except I'm going to get the right, I'm going to add a vertex right at the intersection. And then let me see. Well, we'll come back to it. I may need to break that and then use that as a sliding side or a hinged side. All right, so let's go up to the area layout command and choose area by interior point and pick there. And what does that tell us? We got 224,000, 225,000 square feet. We got 5.162 acres. Okay, now go on the right. Yeah, go ahead and click a spot to put the label. Click, go to the other and pick there you go. There you go. Do the same thing. Click there. Now, so now to make that 5.162 acres to be 5 exactly, we're not going to touch this center line, but we need to adjust this line down here.
Yeah,
Okay. And I think these may need to be separate lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see, let's go ahead and hit enter to finish. There we go. So if we break this and it, break by crossing polyline, here's the clip. And then here is the break. That's one here and one there. Okay, and they are.
Then you use the adjust area command.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I was just wondering why that, I guess the length. I guess the length, the line type scale wasn't, it was such that the pattern was not able to get in there. That's why it looks solid. I just want to make sure it didn't change the line type. All right. So now we're going to adjust these two lines here, and we'll do it, by these adjust areas, and then you can do it either hinged or slide. However we want to do it. If we did a slide, it'll keep those lines. Are those lines parallel to the main road bearing?
I don't know, not on purpose.
Okay, let me see. If we had, let's just do a quick inverse. If we went from there to there, that's 812408. Yeah, make sure the overall thing is 812408. Yep, and then we go from here to here is 812408. So that right now it is sitting as parallel to the road line up here. And that makes a good deed, because you can follow the intent of the conveyance was to be, parallel to that line potentially. But if we do that and we want to adjust these two lots to make them each 5 acres, then you're going to wind up with these will no longer be straight across. They'll be staggered.
Yeah,
Like one will come up here and then the other one will come down here.
right.
All right. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If we hinge this, then we can hold, this point, and then this one has to come up this way, to obviously, and then if we hold this one, then this one's going to come down to get more to make 5. This one shoots up to make it less. And it's not going to be much. And so it's going to, but if we do that, we hold this point down here as common, which is not a bad way to do a conveyance. But the bearings here are no longer parallel to the road, and that's okay, except if it's only slightly not parallel to the road, then it looks like, well, was the intent to do it that way and they just screwed it up, or you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you need to decide, or they need to decide however they want to do this, and we can do it that way. That will allow us to either
well,
slide
let
or
me look at their
hinge.
drawing again here real
Yeah.
quick.
See, they're sort
Well,
of
they didn't pay any attention to the areas.
right.
Uh,
So now the other thing is that we can do is if we wanted to keep these exactly in line and parallel to the road up here, this the last the closing tangent and curve here, you see that could actually swing, this way and that way. So it would have to obviously swing further to the left to cut more off of this lot and give more to this lot. Okay. So that could be done. However, that would be a sort of iterative kind of trial and error process. We
Yeah.
don't have that adjustment command that will be able to do that. The only thing we can do on this adjustment command is to work on, this or this.
Yeah, let's just use the adjustment command.
Okay, and then do we want to slide them and keep them parallel or hinge them and keep them at the border or try one and see what it looks like and go
Yeah,
back to
I
the
would
other one?
say let's try one and see what it looks like.
Okay, I'm gonna let you drive here so you get used to it. So let's go up to area layout, adjust areas, and we're going to either hinged or sliding side. So let's do the hinged area first. All right. So we're going to define the area by points or closed polylines. So let's say line work. So L. I think this is, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, so all right, escape this. We need to make a closed polyline first of all. Okay, um, instead of, we're going to leave all these lines alone for right now. Let's go to the edit menu and we're going to run a command called called boundary polyline. It's right. I'm sorry, not edit menu, the draw menu, the draw menu. And we're going to draw a boundary polyline, which is about midway down, a little below midway, right there. Okay. So we're going to click that and and let's leave this on this new layer that it's saying so we can isolate it if we need to.
Okay.
We're going to pick inside. There you go. Click that and click first in the left one. No, no. Just inside it. Just like, yeah, like anywhere in there. Okay. And now you see where it created that polyline. Now pick another point. So go over on the other side and pick that one. There we go. We're done. Hit enter to finish. Okay. Now let's let's turn everything back on. So let's go to you see the little, all the way over to the right of that toolbar. Keep going all the way over yeah, no, back to you've got a toolbar about, it's right here. The last one looks like a sun. Right there. There you go. See, that's the last one in that toolbar. So go ahead and click that. And that's going to turn our points back on that we hid. And now let's isolate the layer by picking the white line that we drew and also one of the area labels. So let's isolate. We'll pick one of the white lines and then one of the text layers, the area label. There you go. Hit enter. And now we've got the close. Each of those is now a closed polyline, and we're going to now go back and run that command now that they're a closed polyline. Adjust there. The alternative would have been we'd had to step our way around all those points in the center line. That's why I wanted to make sure it's going to work here. So let's
Okay.
try this one first. And by closed polyline, so L for line work. Select the segment to adjust. So you want to pick that bottom one. Yeah, just anywhere on that line. There you go. And now select the hinge point. So there you go. Perfect. Keep existing polyline. Let's say no, there's no need. And we want a target area in acres. So just type 5 and hit enter. Okay, that's what it would look like. Now let's repeat the command. And same thing, line work, and we're going to work on the other lot. Get the hinge point there and say no.
And 5.
Yep. Okay. So it does actually keep the lines parallel, it appears, because it's needing to make the adjustment. Let's find out for sure. Do a quick inverse, corner to midpoint, midpoint to corner, and then far corner to far corner. All right, so that's 743109. No, okay, they're not exactly.
Well, that's okay. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, whoops. See, if I do an inverse here to here, that's 74.3109. If I go here to here, then 75. Yeah, so that's not, it's just close. That's all. So that's what that would look like. And then this would, I'm going to get rid of these two things here because they were from the other line work.
Right.
And let's do the area by interior point. And same thing here. And then that way, if we do any other adjustments, that number should update itself automatically. So now that's what it would look like. And if we thawed our boundary just momentarily here, let's take a look at what it will look like if we do it the other way. Now, see, that should, once we come back, should update that. Unless you don't have your updates on, you may not. So we'll go back to boundary. Back. I do all right, let me see. Did we have link labels with line work? Sure enough, we did. Well, I guess because we did an interior, it did not follow the actual line work. It did a different method, so. Yeah. Let's try the other way. So area adjust by adjust areas, and we'll do it and see what this looks like. And you decide which one you want better. There you go. All right, define new line by the selected line, another line, angular point. So we're going to just type it by selected line, and that's what is in brackets. So we'll say S for selected, or just hit enter, either one. Okay, now put your 5 acres in. Okay, and now do the other one, same way. All right, so that would be what that would look like. Now that would wind up giving these lots down here, this one down here is going to have this little odd jog. So that's one way of doing that. And here's another one I was just thinking about. If we undo that, let's see about, let's do this for a second. Now that we've made that one 5 acres, let's hold that common point and now go back and do your adjust, but do it by a hinged point. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, so that would look like that. And then if we, so you can see what that would wind up being. So this line would come up to here to this point, and this line would then follow that. So these would be those lines there. And then we would take from that point, we would just draw our arbitrary line down the middle and then adjust these two by holding that point there as well. I kind of like that idea. That gives a single point that's common to all four parcels. All right, so to finish that part up, let's do this. Let's draw a 2D polyline. And now before you do that, uncheck that use current drawing properties. And then where it says layer, hit the pick button to the right of that and pick your little white property line that we've been using for adjustment. There you go. And now say okay. And now go to that northeast corner of, well, go to the center, the hinge point, go to the hinge point. All right, click. And now let's go down to over to the right. No, not quite so far down. Up to the corner of the east lot. The corner of the northeast lot of the four. No, go up. There you go. Now get to that end point right there. Right there. Click. Now go down to the bottom corner and click. Okay. Go all the way over there. Go to the midpoint. Let's go to the midpoint first. Go to the midpoint. There you go. Click there. And now just go up to that place or where you started. You need to just type C to close or just go up there and hit the snap again. There you go. All right. Now let's repeat it and we're going to trace the one on the west. Okay. And let's go and grab any one of those corners you want to start with. Click and go to that corner. Click up to the white corner now. Up right there. Click and to the node point, click, and now C to close. Okay. Now let's isolate that layer and might as well get yeah, get the polylines. Wait, no, wait a minute. There. Well, isolate layers. Pick the polyline and pick one of those text labels up above that are off the screen right now. There you go. Now, knowing that our upper two lots are fixed, we want to adjust these two lots down here. And this line in the middle here is going to be our hinged line. And this is going to be the hinge point, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and do that on either lot that you want to do. And then we can just manually do the other one. No, well, okay, yeah, you can do that. So you see it's not too far off, but it is off. All right, so now after you finish that, let's do the adjustment. Okay. Right, line work. L for line work. Okay, now the segment we want to adjust. Nope, not that one. We wanted to adjust that other segment.
What, this
So
one?
escape. Run your command again and then watch your prompts. So choose line work. Now select the segment that you want to adjust. There you go. Now there's going to be two there. So if you pick now the first one, it's going to be the lot on the right. If you click the second one, it's the lot on the left. Okay. All right. Select the hinge point, which will be there. And now And we're gonna say no to that and let it go 5, so it's gonna swing it clockwise a little bit. See, that's what it did. Now, the other,
Huh, it kept that other line,
get what other?
this one.
Well, yeah, but that's for this lot over here.
Oh, okay,
I
right,
think.
okay.
However, see, it shouldn't, however, have kept this. This one down here, was that? So there's the, oh, wait a minute, that was, actually, I see what happened is it took the other one. It adjusted the one on the right instead of the one on the left. So there we go. So that's the one on the right. So that's what happened. I would have expected to see that as a gap if it were adjusting this one, but it wasn't adjusting that one. It was adjusting this one. So apparently when we clicked on it, it it was not the one that I thought it was going to be. All right. So now we could repeat the command and tell it to do that calculation again, but we know that it's going to be exactly right there. So let's just select it and then grip edit that bottom corner and have it snap to the other corner there, that with our new corner. Yeah, just click and drag it over and let it snap to the endpoint right there. Okay, now let's go and do the areas of all 4 lots and see what we got.
We'll delete these.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And you could, yeah, you could do it there. You could even do it by closed polyline because they're all closed polylines. We'll double check. We'll double check it both ways. So we'll click there once. Go ahead and click and then click and click and click and then place. Okay, so now enter to finish. So those are all reading 5.000 acres as our intent. And let's also just, as a double check, we'll go up to the area layout and we're going to choose area by closed polyline. There we go. And it's at multiple areas. And, oh, sure, say okay. And now select the entities, just type all or select a dragging window around, to get all 4 lots. Just click and go. There you go. That's all you need right there. All right. Hit enter. So there's your 5 acres, 5 acres, 5 acres, 5 acres, a total of 20 acres. We hit the exit or go out the door icon, whichever one we want. And then it placed each of those there. It placed the total. Down there is the 20 acres. So, all right. So I think that's clear that we can erase all those text labels. And then we can go turn our other layers back on now to restore our layers. And then adjust those red lines accordingly. And I would recommend leaving this set of lines on, but we'll freeze it later.
Okay,
So
so,
yeah, exactly. Restore your layers. There you go. Now let's fix all of this stuff. And we should be in good shape. And don't worry about fixing the center line yet. We're going to think about that here in a minute, but click the red line there. We've got,
drag it
so
up
there
in
you go.
there.
Yep. So drag that one up and snap to the end of the white one. So and do that all the way around. And don't forget the one on the left. There you go. Pull that guy down. So don't forget, even though the 2 outer lines are, they're parallel, so we don't see any change. But if you press escape and then click one of those lines, you'll see that
Which lines?
this, like this line here, this, the red one. Hang on a second. Let me click and this red one. All right, so you see it only goes from corner to corner. So we need to add that vertex in here so that when we do our points around that we can
Okay.
do that. Possibly, we don't necessarily need to. I just wanted to make sure that if you did have a vertex at the old midpoint, you would need to slide that vertex up. But it looks like, yeah, so you're in good shape. You just got the corners and yeah, I would recommend leaving it like that. Uh, Same thing here. If this point is whatever this point is, but here's your corner. As long as this point and these points are not, I guess these are the easement points here, right?
Yeah,
Probably.
that's where I actually set the rebar.
Yeah, okay. So, um,
Now,
but the actual, the actual ownership goes to those corners, so we're in good shape.
now do I need to do a copy on the one down here? Turn
Uh,
that into a boundary?
yes, we will. So now you're not going to copy that because that's part of that closed
Right,
polyline. So
just
so
draw a line.
yeah, we're just going to draw a line and we're going to choose the layer it's going to go on, which happens to be the current layer, which is boundary. So that's fine. Say okay. And let's go from that up. There you go, down to there. You're the man. Okay, now we've got the center line. Now, as far as the boundary goes, this center line would need to be trimmed back to the corner. Okay.
Well, it's got to come through a little bit.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't want to adjust it quite yet. I wanted to see what we want to do to it. And there's a couple of things we can do. We could make that a cul-de-sac if you wanted, then that way this guy's got access, this guy's got access.
Yeah,
But
no, they don't like cul-de-sacs on minor subdivisions.
okay, good deal. So then where do we need to go with it to give them, if we kept it here, he's got access, this guy doesn't.
Well, you would by the time you do 25 feet from the center.
Oh, that's right. Let's see what that would look like. Just real quick. 25, right here to here, and here to here. All right, so he's got all of that. He's got all of this. Okay. But that means, well,
What is that
it-
distance, just out of curiosity?
this across here.
No, the distance across here.
Oh, uh, let's see, I'm looking for here it is. So we are from 63 feet.
Okay, that's plenty.
All right, so now you'll come off this center line and come this way. And think of where do we terminate?
Well, I get, is there anything wrong with terminating the road at the property, right of way at the property line?
Yeah, just terminating it here, for instance. If we do this, ah, crap, hang on. And then let's go perpendicular to that and then move from there to there. All right, so you follow what we did here? We
Yeah.
came down to where it hit. And that's as far as we took anything. And then And this is perpendicular to that. So that's, this guy doesn't need it. He can just, he can build the road all the way out here and stop it if he wants. And then he's just gonna pull a driveway off of this. He's gonna just continue it to where he's going. Um, but the easement doesn't need to be defined beyond that point.
Right.
Um,
I probably need to change that from a boundary line to an easement limit,
yeah. So,
put it on a different layer.
and those, did you have, let's see, boundary lots and lots count, did you have, there's driveway,
No, it wouldn't be a driveway, it would be probably an access easement. Yeah,
okay, there it is. All right. And it's not,
must be turned off.
yeah, so if it's, let's see, there it is. All right, so there's that, and then you would, we would come in here and put in a little curve radii if we need. Well, that's deceptive. It doesn't look perpendicular there. Huh. It's not. Well, fiddlesticks, how did that happen? Line from here to there, and I'm gonna go out to there just to make sure I can see that one. Yeah, missed it by that much for whatever reason. Let's see.
How much distance is that?
It's not much, it's tiny, but I just don't want to get any bearings or get anybody to see that's 5/1000ths.
Yeah, I
It,
don't, I
it's
doubt they
half a
really care
hundredth.
about that.
Yeah, okay. I don't think if we, I don't, let's see, if we dimension that. From here to here. Now, if we, whoops, let's take a look at what it is over here, text. Uh, Look at degrees, minutes, and seconds, and a precision of, yeah, see, that's what I was afraid of. It's 15 seconds makes it not work very well. All right, let me see. Um, all right, let me whip this thing up. So if I if I want to hold a PI. All right, let me. All right, if I hold the center line. And the boundary. Here's where I think this might have happened. I do a quick inverse here. Say here to here. That's 81, 24, 23. That's good. And 20, 81, 2408. Whereas 81, 24, 23, those lines aren't parallel in there, Mike.
Hmm.
That's why, because we snapped perpendicular to this line, remember?
Yeah,
And that's not exactly the same bearing. If I look at that line and I see it has, where's my,
I know what I did. I created that easement parallel to the center line boundary, and then I changed the center line boundary. I revised it. And I didn't go back and change the easement limits.
okay. Wow.
I don't think it'll make any difference. I don't think the highway department will even notice it.
They won't, will they make you label that angle? Of course, you're gonna
No,
have, I mean,
no,
you're gonna have the bearing and that bearing, maybe they'll forgive it if it's 15 seconds off.
yeah, I think they will.
All right. I mean, I could fix it for you real quickly. It's not, you know, I could go in there and adjust this down here and then reset the areas of the lots if you want to do it that way. I don't mind to do it, but
Nah, let's take a chance.
all right, there we go. We'll get rid of that one and back out there. So now, so these, you're going to want to put, let's put some, say 40-foot, 25-foot radius in there. So we're going to draw circles, TTR. Going to be tangent to this, tangent to this, and a radius of 25 feet. No circles possible. Try it again. TTR. Tangent to, I guess that to be closer. Tangent to that. Now 25. There we go. Same thing. Right, and then we're going to take these guys as trim lines, as well as these guys. Put it on one swell swoop. We'll right click and trim, and we're going to trim first of all, get these guys trimmed back. And then I'm going to trim this back. But now, do we need to keep this line across here intact, correct?
Yes,
Or
right.
not? Okay, because it's not part of that same easement.
Oh,
But
and
this one,
here's the problem. It's not gonna be parallel to the center line.
uh, this line here?
Yeah, didn't we decide it's not parallel to the center line?
Yeah, we did, but I thought you said you were going to
Oh,
let it go.
wait a minute. I'm sorry. That is, we went to the wrong line. It should have
Oh,
gone,
I see what we did there. We need to do to the upper line here. So,
right.
all right, so here to here, 25. All right, so now we're coming to this line, these two and these two. We are trimming the circles and the purples. And then we are joining okay, like that.
Yeah,
And then if you want that to join it, right now it just goes out here and stops, and then there's this end cap, and then there's this end cap here too. And if you want, you can turn that all into a closed figure. It'll close across here. Or you can join this to this and leave it open. I don't, depends on what you want to do with it as
okay.
to what. Now, this is our center line right now. So that goes a little longer than we've trimmed it back a little bit. But remember our settings in Carlson configure general settings where we said link line work with center lines right over here on the right.
Yeah,
Because of that, that's what let us be able to double click that polyline, turn it into a center line, put the curves in, and then when we saved and came back out, it redrew the curves.
yeah,
But likewise, if you just edit this out here in space, it's going to change that alignment so that it's going to go right there now instead of here. Okay, now that has actually updated let me make sure because I had that other dialog open. Yeah, okay. So now, so if I move this guy back to right there, and then if I double click that, can't really double click it because the other line's there. So if I edit my center line editor, choose my access easement, there now that last line,
mm-hmm.
well, we didn't see the length of it before, so I can't really show it to you, but it's now uh, stopped at that spot. So it starts out here at the center line, comes down here and stops. And we've got some things up here. Now, if you want to, if you do wind up going back up here and adjusting these other lines to make them parallel to this line, if
Yeah,
there's enough difference that you want to do that, all you need to do for that is whatever these get adjusted to, just take these endpoints and keep in mind that's a circular arc. So if you need to put another circle in there, you can do that. Just redraw those circles or just slide those endpoints around. It just, I hate to tell I hate to give anybody advice to just eyeball stuff, but sometimes that gets the job done. And if it's not anything that anybody's going to catch on review or in construction, then no harm, no foul. The intent is still the same. So, okay, so that gives you 4 5-acre lots. These two with some interesting boundaries. And then just making sure everybody's got access. This guy can come off of this road anywhere he wants. Like if he builds his house down here in the corner, he can come the shortest distance there. This guy doesn't need to, or if he wants, he could put a second driveway up here maybe.
No, he can't. They won't let him.
Okay. Is this going to be a public road?
No.
No. This won't be either, but okay, so he can still only have the one. Okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question here.
Sure.
The way this looks funny to me. I'm wondering if we
Well,
want to have,
first of all, this would be like,
okay. Okay,
yeah, that was the center line. We adjusted the red lines to match. We still got this little white boundary over here, the
yeah,
CBDY that we're gonna freeze. And then we adjusted all these others, but we left that tail sitting there just to make sure we had enough. We did not change the center line. The center line defines itself based on this one.
right.
Okay, the center line. But the boundary of the property, we needed to pull that tail back just like you saw video. Was that what you were wondering about?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that does it. All righty. Well, now turn your photos back on. Let's see if we've managed to put a property line through a historical Indian grave site or something. Well, no. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Sorry. It's all right. Yeah, so the only thing is that those bottom 2 lots, the center line is not going to be parallel to the outside lines, like I guess they were originally when we just went midpoint to midpoint. But I think it's also visually evident that that was not intended to be. It's not like you're going to look at that and assume that they're parallel.
Right.
So I think we're in good shape with that. Now you do have, I see down here, um, you got a couple of points you're going to need to, like that 233, I guess it is. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and put that on the frozen point layer.
Well, so, if you're going to have a different point slightly over, it'll be 233 revised or whatever you want to.
Right.
Now, does that give you, if you zoom back out and you can sort of get an idea, maybe figuring out where your green spaces are going to go, or?
Well, I'm gonna have to figure out where the septic reserve areas are gonna go first.
Yeah,
And
okay.
and then I'm figuring that really everything over here, I mean, there's a real ravine here.
Okay.
So this is really not very usable for this guy anyway. I mean,
Uh-huh.
his yard is gonna be up here.
Right.
So, I'll probably have some kind of weird, of course, I've got to get half of the lot area in. Plus, he's got an existing septic system back here,
Oh, yeah, that round circle thing.
and I'm going to have to create a 10,000 square foot septic reserve area there. That can be in the green space. Well, I'm
Okay.
not going to have the green space that close to his house. He may want to build a swimming pool or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'll
I mean,
probably put it down here and maybe some up here.
yeah, I mean, you could put the entire bottom chunk of the property. Well, it's got to be half of it though, right? So yeah,
Right, yeah, yeah, that's
so,
gonna be a challenge.
huh, wow. All right, well,
Okay, should I turn this layer, freeze this layer? No,
which the CBDY?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, certainly you would be for final plotting. Okay, and then I would also,
oh, let
uh,
me ask you a question about this.
sure,
Uh, should I move this,
move the viewport off
yeah,
the title.
yeah,
Yeah, probably. But and there's a couple things we could do with that. We could move it. Let's see. Well, first of all, if we just move it, let me get it says snaps off. So if we moved it up like say this, um, and then you could, you know, like how far down do you need it to go and how far over? So you can do that. Or if you want it to be, there, and this is, I didn't, let me put it back. All right, so there now is the original, so that was, so this one is pointing to,
well, you can't really see it. It's pointing in two different directions. There's an arrow up here that it's an
oh
adjoiner.
yeah,
It's an
yeah.
adjoiner label and it's going in both directions.
Okay, so to move, to catch all those and to keep them relatively the same, I'm going to select those bits of paper space items as well as the viewport. So now when I move it, it's all going to go together. See, these came along for the ride with the viewport.
Yeah.
So there we go. That'll fix that. And if you don't want this black line to plot here,
Yeah, I don't.
um, then the easiest way to fix that is to just take this viewport and come down just inside of here. If I can, we just come just to the inside there, so it cuts it off. And then that way you can still see it when you're out in model space and all that, but this won't have it. It'll cut it off. And you remember now you can lighten that and make it semi-transparent if you need to include it on your plat, or if you don't need it on your plat, freeze it as you will. So that'll take care of that. Now, I did want to also go back to these two lines, like this boundary line is by itself and it doesn't show the pattern. This one's by itself, so we'll probably join that one. But we'll also freeze in this viewport that CBDY. So now we're back to that, and let's do a join nearest of this one to this one. And that'll get the pattern to replicate.
Okay, I see.
And so I'm gonna do one other little thing here. I'm gonna select similar. First of all, what is the scale of this thing?
Uh, 1 inch equals 150 feet.
150, okay. 150, yeah. Okay, so that's good. 150. See that line pattern is just to me it's a little big. It gives the gaps are too big. Um, so if we select everything on boundary. And let's give it a line type scale and let's tone it down to about 65%. Will that work?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it too tight, does it?
No,
Okay. Oh, now there's also this center line, which is on here as a separate layer, and then the boundary is also shown. So the center line itself, we'll go ahead and give that a similar scaling, but it's got a slightly different boundary,
right.
or I mean pattern, rather. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do something here too. Let's make that. Like these line styles are just too big. All right, so that's look better. All right, well, I think that gets you on your way anyway. Um, yeah, you've got some, as my granddaddy used to say, you got some ciphering to do, boy,
Yeah.
on those septic reserves and all of that. I'm gonna save your file here. Maybe we had saved all day. So yeah, whatever we need. Now, is this, if I recall, it falls down to, or no, this is not the same. This is completely different. Uh, or is it?
Yeah, it is.
This is not that other subdivision we did with all the 12 lots, right?
No, no, completely different piece of property.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what was confusing me. I was working this whole time thinking about that as being, taken from that other easement and all that kind
Nope,
of stuff. So,
nope.
okay. All right. All right. So that'll be all right. All right. So you'll have the one now with that guy in the upper right, the existing, would he be allowed to, if he wanted? I'm not, I wouldn't even suggest it. I think he's better off like he is, just leaving it, but would he be allowed to close off his current driveway and make a new one from this new access?
Maybe, but there would be a process involved.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but I mean, especially if there's a little drainage draw through there, you'd have to cross and all kinds of mess. He's already got something that works. No need to
Yeah,
rock that boat. So,
yeah.
okay. All right, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, nothing else, or if there is, when you think about it, give me a yell and we'll tackle it then.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. All right,
Bye.
take care.